I'm so annoyed with myself. This is my third time attempting to record this video. Hi, welcome to my new series where I do tarot readings for strangers on YouTube. I used to do this on TikTok, but I don't trust TikTok anymore because there is no war in Ba Xing Se. For legal reasons, this video is for entertainment purposes only. Let's get started. All right, so first you got the Hanged Man. The Hanged Man calls back to a story in Norse mythology in which Odin, the All-Father, hung himself from Yggdrasil, the World Tree, in order to gain omniscience, basically like knowledge and wisdom through his own suffering. And it was while he was hanging there that he saw the runes on the ground. And this is the first time anybody ever saw the runes. So this is kind of like an ancient myth that is used to explain where language comes from. And it's also the origin of the runes, which we're also incorporating into your reading. And so I personally thought that was really cool. Now, what does the Hanged Man mean for you? I think it means that you are trying to sacrifice something, or that you will have to sacrifice something in order to gain something. And I don't think this is a monetary transaction. I think it's like more like spiritual. It's like related to your personal growth. Like it's giving less root chakra and it's giving more like third eye or crown chakra. Do you understand? Now, what's really interesting is that you also got this rune, which is called Berkana. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'm a lot less familiar with runes than I am with tarot, so like, don't come at me. Like, the whole reason that we're doing this is so that I can get practice. But what's interesting about this stone, this rune, is that it represents growth and rebirth. So these two cards together are both kind of sending kind of like the same message. Although you did get this rune inverted, which kind of makes me think that like maybe there's something standing in the way of this growth or this rebirth that you are attempting. Or maybe this is a rebirth or a change or like a growth through suffering, or like enlightenment through suffering, that you yourself are resistant to. Now we're gonna draw another card and get some context. Oh, that's not fun. We really don't like to see the Ten of Swords. I'm really sorry for whatever this represents. Like, in my opinion, this is one of the most unpleasant cards in the entire deck. And you can probably tell by looking at the picture, like, this card represents a lot of pain that you're either currently going through, or you have gone through, or hopefully you're not going to go through. Like, I hope this is not in your future. I hope this is already in your past. Now, this doesn't have to be that severe. It could potentially be like a lesser version of the death card, where it's like signaling the end of a cycle, but it's like a painful end of a cycle. You know, like the death card represents like us having to let go of something in order to like start a new cycle. And so this card can represent that, but like on a lesser level. It's still painful, but it doesn't have to be like the hellish turmoil that you see depicted on the card. But I also don't want to get your hopes up because, like, this could be something pretty bad also. We're going to pull a rune and we're going to see if maybe we get a little context here. But I'm thinking this is like, maybe this card is representing like part of the suffering that's inherent in this card. Like, what is the saying that like, the greater the struggle, the more glorious the triumph. So it could be something like that. Like this could be like your sacrifice or your like how the Hanged Man represents like Odin seeking enlightenment through suffering. Like maybe this is just the suffering aspect of that for you. Anyway, let's flip over this rune. What do we have? Interesting. I'm going to say it's more turned this way. This table is too smooth. Like my cards, they just want to spin all over the place. I should have put a cloth down. I don't have like really a cloth for these cards. So this rune is called Ansuz. Again, I think that's how you pronounce it. Everything I know about runes is from reading books, and I haven't really like talked to a lot of people about runes or like watched a lot of videos about runes, so I don't know how to pronounce anything. And like same for Norse mythology, like I'm not good at pronouncing it because everything I know about it is from reading and not from like actually talking to people. Anyway, so this rune represents like a river mouth, like the mouth of a river, like the place that the water initially springs from. And so there is somewhat of a connection between the idea of water springing from the mouth of a river, between that and like um, words coming from the mouths of the gods, or for that matter, words coming from our own mouths. And it's interesting again because I'm seeing this connection between the meaning of this rune and the fact that like this card is pointing to the origin of the runes themselves as a form of language to the Norse people. Not to scare you too much, but also this rune is associated with the god Loki, who is kind of a trickster god in Norse mythology, if you're not familiar, but you probably are because we've all seen the Marvel movies. But also, another thing is that this rune is also inverted, which to me is making me think that, like, maybe is it possible that you think that a deity has been reaching out to you? Have you been wondering whether or not a deity has been reaching out to you? Because this rune could be pointing to that being a trickster spirit. Because like its meaning is referencing words flowing from the mouth of a deity. Um but it's inverted, and that makes me think that like you can't trust those words. And to be clear, there's a difference between like a trickster god and a trickster spirit, because chaos magic is a thing, and Loki does have his devotees. But with this being inverted, it's almost like Loki is saying, it's not me. And that rune with this card is really foreboding. I'm gonna draw one more card and one more rune. Whew. Hopefully this one is better. Oh, good. All right. The Page of Swords. All right. So the thing about sword cards, like swords as a suit, is that they represent like strategy, and like tactics. They can represent a battle that you're fighting, but it doesn't necessarily have to be like, it's not necessarily a physical battle. It's not necessarily an interpersonal conflict. But what swords ask us to pay attention to is like the strategy and the logic that we're using, like to plan. Like it's telling you to be careful, to be mindful, and that like every little thing that you do matters. Now, the face cards, or like the royalty cards, the page, king, queen, and knight. I said those in the wrong order. The page, knight, king, and queen. No, the page, knight, queen, and king. They can often represent people in your lives. So, like, this could be pointing to a person in your life, or it could be pointing to you. And out of the four, page, knight, queen, king, the page is the one with the least amount of experience. You can think of the page as being like the youngest. They're alert, they're vigilant, they're quick on their feet, they can pivot their strategy really easily, they're confident, they thrive under pressure. This is a pretty good card to get, and it tells me that either you are extremely competent and extremely prepared for these like challenges that you're facing or have faced in the past, or that there is someone like that who you have in your court with you. The court cards, that was the word I was looking for earlier. Anyway, you're going to want to tap into this person, whether this is like a facet of yourself or if it's someone who is like in your life and an important person to you. I know right now, community is about to be really important to all of us. So whether this is another individual or it's like a part of you yourself, you need to tap into this person. All right, we're gonna do one more rune. Let's see. I choose you. Oh, okay. I believe this one is called Ingus. It points to like a legendary hero who later becomes a god. And I really feel like that pulls this entire thing together. I think this is like the main idea of your reading is the Hanged Man and this like story of Odin. And like this is your sacrifice that you're making, and I think this is what you're going to become. That like you are the hero who is gonna like level up and that you're gonna find the divine within yourself. There's a lot of like, there's a couple of these runes are kind of like pointing to fertility also. So just throwing that out there. Um, yeah, I don't know, like fertility can be like physical fertility or it can be like material abundance and wellness. I don't want you to freak out and think that like you're gonna find out that you're having a baby or something because I don't know. My readings don't get that specific. But just throwing it out there that like you had a couple of different runes that like pointed to like because you had one that said rebirth, and then you have this one, the hero that becomes a god also is like a fertility rune. So that was kind of interesting to me. Fertility idea might also be pointing to like your relationship to the earth. So that could be a thing. Maybe you're just going to do some gardening. I don't know. I don't know your life. Anyway, I hope this helps you. Please let me know how I did. If you want to remain anonymous, you don't have to comment. You can just message me where we were messaging before I made this video. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this, and may we all have the day that we deserve. Bye.